Hey there, everybody. Z here coming at you live once more for the power of the Pearl Lemon SEO channel. Now, in today's video, we are not on Bob's New World. We are, in fact, on Google Sheets and the actual internet. And why am I on Google Sheets? Because today we are going to be discussing meta titles and descriptions. Guys, I apologize if there's a little bit of background noise. I've been messing around with my mic settings and not everything is as set up as before, but it should be coming through a lot cleaner now. I also apologize if I've got a bit of sinuses. It is allergy season where I am, and my nose hates me. So please just bear with me as we go through this. So this over here is what we call one of the key fundamentals of SEO, right? So basically what a meta title and meta description is something that Google uses to help inform somebody about the website they're going to, right? If we go to Google and we search space battles, you will see that, hey, the site identity pops up over here in this little square here. That's it over there. You'll see this over here. You'll see space battles right here. And then you'll see a little write-up at the bottom, a popular forum celebrating geek culture and creativity. All right. So basically, this website is kind of like Reddit, and it's a perfect example because it's not super in-depth. I originally wanted to use Amazon's Goodreads. I originally wanted to use Goodreads for this to seem a bit more sophisticated, but it didn't work as properly because that sort of goes into the back end of optimizing the site, making sure everything is secure. But basically, for somebody who, for example, is sight impaired or doesn't see or read as well, this over here is an excellent way for Google to help describe what it is the page is all about. So, for example, space battles over here, that is basically what the website is, space battles. This over here at the bottom is just a short description, usually between 40 to 150 to 160 characters to describe what it is the page or the website is all about. Now, the reason why this is important is because using tools like Ahrefs or Ahrefs and SEMrush and a bunch of other data scrapers out there, we can import that data into a spreadsheet, quickly pull that data from the actual URL and web page into a spreadsheet, and then calculate the length of the description and meta title and the length of what we have afterwards to optimize our content. Basically, if you use a tool like Yoast SEO or RankMath is what I recommend you use. This is an excellent way of using, okay, this is what needs to change on the website. If you, for example, are working on a client website with hundreds of pages or thousands of blogs, it's a really quick and easy way to filter out what needs to be changed and what doesn't need to be changed. Okay, so what are we doing here? Basically, if we go to space battles, right, and we right click and say view page source, you will get this over here. Now, this is actually formatted quite nicely. This is basically all the HTML and CSS on the website, as well as things describing the website. As you can see up here, the doc type, all of these things, it's really nicely laid out. You can see over here, the title is space battles, right? Meta name, theme, color, content, all of these things. You don't have to worry about this. Very rarely will you be dealing with this outside of like actually coding a website. And if you are like, cool, that's great. You can see how nicely this is laid out. And you can see it is a super long document. Not all pages are laid out this nicely. Some of them are really not laid out very well at all. Either way, let's get back to this, right? So what we're going to be doing today is just showing you a quick example of how I set this up and how you can set this up at home to actually see and start optimizing or get some practice optimizing the meta title and description of a page. Okay, so as you can see, I just put up some quick columns and names: URL, meta title description, and length of description. Right? In fact, I should be writing length of description before, and then length of description after. Right? Actually, this is length of title. So I'll just put title and then title here. All right. By the way, guys, I highly recommend you get into the habit of working with spreadsheets. They are an excellent tool in every facet of life. And what I'm going to show you is just a quick way to start using these, right? So, for example, this one over here, if we click on here, you see there is just text over here, right? If we click on here, you can see the import XML. And then if you click over here, you can see another import XML. And this one over here is just a simple length command, right? So don't worry too much about it. As you use Sheets more, it gets better and better. There is a import HTML. You don't have to worry about that for now. That uses data tables and lists. This is basically something a bit more specific. Import XML is pulling one specific piece of this code here instead of pulling data tables or sheets or anything of that nature, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to just test out some of these things here. For example, if I were to click Site News and I were to say copy this, right? And I paste it down here. I click on this, as you can see here. This is the code right now, and this is what we call the result or the value that is being spat out by the actual code. If I pull this down, you'll see it says loading, and then it'll pop out a new little meta title. This is basically saying we are on the site news page of Space Battles. If we were to pull this down over here, we will now see what the actual meta title and meta description of this webpage is, right? Official news and announcement about Space Battles brought to you directly by the staff. You guys, I've been in a lot of meetings today. My voice is not working with me. If I were to pull this down again, you will see this also updates. So what is this code? Well, the code is simply equals, which is always the command for inputting formulas into spreadsheets. Import XML, and you just press enter. All right. Now you'll see some information here. Basically, what this means is basically it wants to know in the first column what URL in spreadsheets are they pulling. In this case, we're going to say A4, right? Because we're pulling that URL over there. Then we put a comma to basically break it up and say this is the next path that you're going to look for. They're going to say XPath query. Basically, what that means is we're just going to put two of those, two forward slashes, and then title. All right. And then we're going to close it. Always make sure to close it, and we're going to enter. That's going to say no value, basically X value, hashtag value. There is no parameter basically in the A4 right now for this information to be pulled from. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back here. We're just going to go back to the forum, main forum, and we're just going to click, I don't know, creative writing, okay? We're going to copy that URL, and we're going to spin it here. And then you should see it instantly update over here. What that is doing, it is coming to, let's just go here and view elements. And what it's doing, it is finding this title over here. It's finding this little piece of code that's pulling the value in between these brackets, and then it's going to be pasting it over here. Now, what if we want to get the meta description? Well, that's a slightly longer piece of code. In fact, if you look at it over here, it is saying import, same as before, but here you can see this over here, right? Now it's pulling something else. You can see a little star. I don't actually know what we call that anymore. And then it says head, right? Meta, and then this over here, this over here is basically saying this is what we're trying to pull, right? So if we go, for example, if you copy this and we go to the source page and we hit Control Search and we enter that, it's not going to pop up, right? But if we search description, we're going to get a lot of results, right? And you'll see over here, here's all the different types of properties we can pull. Right now, we are pulling name, description, and then if you see over here, it says content. At content, we are pulling this piece of content over here to our spreadsheet. So if we hit enter for that, or if we just copy this entire section over here and we paste it down over here, and then we update this to 4, and we hit enter, it's going to pull that information. Now you can see the formatting is a bit wrong. What we're going to do is, instead of doing that, we're just going to click on here and we're just going to pull it down. And this is an excellent way of just quickly perusing a website and dragging like hundreds upon hundreds of links through. If you do that, please be aware it does take a while to load. So I recommend maybe doing 5 or 6 at a time, maybe 10, 20 if you want to really push it. Or you could just pull them all down, leave it for 10 minutes and come back and everything should be functional, right? The cool thing about this is you only ever have to really create one of these and then just go to File, make a copy, and then just make a copy of it, rename it, put in the new URLs, and then export it. All right. This is a great way for you to also start to see how we mess around with the meta titles and descriptions. We always want them to be at or below 60. For this, we always want them to be around 150. All right. If, for example, we want to pull these lengths, we're going to say equal length, and we're just going to put in that is C column 2, and we're just going to close, and we're just going to hit enter, and that's pulled out. Now, one more thing to note is that if somebody, for example, was working on the website, like yourself as a developer, and they change this, and they update, this will change in live time. So in order to prevent that, what we're going to do is just copy this, And we're going to move to the side. We're going to Control Shift V, right? And that's going to copy only the return value of the formula. So that means all of this here is now frozen. It's never going to change, right? So this is an excellent way of just collating data very, very quickly for you to decide, okay, these are the titles I need to change. These are the titles I don't need to change, okay? For certain pages, like, for example, space battles, it really doesn't matter because if somebody's searching space battles, they're the first thing to pop up, right? So they've got a really strong domain authority, which we'll get into later, and URL strength. So the actual length of the description doesn't really matter, but because people know that. For example, if we were to say, put in youtube.com, right? And we pull this down. We pull this down. Oh, it's not going to put it up. Okay, yeah, that's very important. Always make sure you come here. https://enter. There we go. So we'll go into HTTPS and HTTP later on in the course, but as you can see, YouTube has this very simple thing. In fact, if we were just to randomly grab a YouTube video, this is the Song of Durin. I don't know by who. I just grabbed it quickly off of my timeline, and we were to say pull this down, you will see it still says YouTube, and you can pull this down, and then it still says that, right? Because YouTube doesn't really change the overall description of the actual thing, because you're never just going to search this. So as you can see, we found exactly the same thing on both sides of the equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete that, and I want you guys to mess around with this. Go to various pages, pull that, and see if you can find a code on your own using this as a baseline, and just going over here, going to various pages, and just hitting, view page source, and looking at the code, finding a specific value you want to pull out, and then popping it in here. This is an excellent way of just rapidly building a database of things that need to change, things that you should be taking a look at. For example, if I were to decide, okay, you know what? I need to find all of these above, say, 60. What I would do is I would just do that, add a filter, click on this, sort by Z, and suddenly I can see, okay, these are all the ones that are above 60 or 70. These are the ones I need to take a look at. Exact same here. And then once you've sorted everything, copy these values over here, and then Control V them here, so they're unchanging, and place your new values, your new edited ones next to them, so you can compare and contrast instantly. That's a really great way of just collecting all the data, and if you're working for a client, to show them, this is what we did before, this is what we did after. Hope this was insightful. Hope this was informative. Have a great day, y'all, and please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all tomorrow.